What if a single DNA test could change an entire family's fate, while a forgotten memory held the key to a love on the brink of being lost forever? In this emotional story, a mother secretly searches for the daughter she lost years ago, placing all her hope in a silent DNA test result. At the same time, a man trapped in amnesia is haunted by the face of a woman he cannot remember, suffering in silence as his past refuses to return. Two journeys of waiting, pain, and hope slowly move toward one inevitable truth. Subscribe to the channel now and step into a story where destiny is about to reveal itself. From the very first moment she laid eyes on Diem, Thu's mother felt something stirred deep within her, a quiet yet persistent ache she had lived with for decades. It was not something she could explain with reason or logic, only a strange familiarity that wrapped around her heart like an old memory refusing to fade. Diem's eyes, calm yet distant, reminded her painfully of a child she once held in her arms and then lost forever in a moment of chaos and helplessness. Every time Diem smiled, a soft, almost shy curve of the lips, the woman felt her breath catch, as if her soul recognized a truth her mind was still too afraid to accept. She tried to dismiss it as imagination, as the foolish longing of a mother who had never truly healed, but the feeling returned again and again, growing stronger with each encounter. At night, when the house fell silent and the world seemed to hold its breath, memories from the past crept back to her. She remembered the tiny fingers that had once clutched her own, the warmth of a newborn pressed against her chest, and the unbearable emptiness that followed the day her daughter vanished without a trace. For years, she had learned to live with that emptiness, burying her hope beneath routine and responsibility. Yet Diem's presence had unearthed everything she thought she had overcome. The resemblance was not obvious enough for others to notice, but to a mother's heart, it was undeniable. It was in the way Diem lowered her gaze when she was nervous, in the quiet strength she carried, and in a sadness that seemed far too familiar. Unable to share her suspicions with anyone, Thu's mother chose silence. She was terrified of hoping again, terrified of disappointment, yet even more afraid of ignoring what her heart was screaming. With trembling hands, she secretly collected strands of her own hair and later a few strands from Diem, careful not to raise suspicion. Sending the samples for a DNA test felt like crossing a fragile bridge between past and present, between despair and hope. The results had not yet arrived, and the waiting was agonizing. Each passing day stretched her patience and tested her strength. Still, in the deepest corners of her heart, she whispered the same prayer over and over, daring to believe that this time fate might finally be kind, and that Diem was truly the daughter she had lost so many years ago. While Thu's mother lived in silent anticipation, clinging to a fragile hope she barely dared to name, Toan was trapped in a very different kind of torment. His world was a blur of broken memories and unfamiliar faces, a life that felt as though it had been torn apart and clumsily stitched back together. He knew his name, knew the present moment, yet everything before the accident lay shrouded in darkness. What troubled him most was not the emptiness itself, but a single recurring image that refused to disappear. A woman's face kept drifting through his thoughts, sometimes clear, sometimes distorted, like a reflection trembling on the surface of water. He did not know who she was, nor why her presence haunted him so relentlessly, but her shadow followed him everywhere. The image came without warning. In the middle of a quiet afternoon, while staring at the ceiling of the small room where he rested, her eyes would suddenly appear before him, filled with emotions he could almost feel but could not understand. At night, she slipped into his dreams, standing just beyond his reach, her lips moving as if calling his name. Each time he tried to focus on her features, a sharp pain exploded inside his head, forcing him to clutch his temples and gasp for breath. The doctors called it a normal symptom of trauma, a mind struggling to protect itself. Tuan, however, felt there was something far more personal and far more painful at work. It was as if his heart remembered what his mind stubbornly refused to recall. Fragments accompanied the face, sensations rather than memories, a sense of warmth, of safety, of love so deep it made his chest ache. Sometimes the faint sound of laughter echoed in his ears, soft and familiar, and sometimes a crushing fear overwhelmed him, leaving him shaken and disoriented. He would whisper questions into the emptiness, asking who she was, why she mattered so much, but the silence offered no answers. The more he tried to force the memories back, the worse the headaches became, leaving him exhausted and frustrated, caught in a vicious cycle he could not escape. Now, with nowhere else to turn, Tuan had resigned himself to a life of quiet dependence in the modest home of the elderly man who had saved him. The old man asked for nothing in return, offering shelter, simple meals, and a patience that felt almost sacred. In that humble space, surrounded by the slow rhythm of days and the gentleness of his rescuer, Tuan waited. He waited for his mind to heal, for the pain to subside, and for the mysterious woman, Diem, though he did not yet know her name, to finally step out of the shadows of his fractured memory and into the light of truth. In the quiet that followed, life settled into a slow, almost fragile rhythm, as if time itself had chosen to tread carefully around Tuan. The small house where he now lived stood at the edge of the village, worn by years of wind and rain, but filled with a warmth he had not felt since waking from his injuries. The elderly man who had saved him moved gently through each day, rising with the sun, tending the garden, and preparing simple meals with practiced hands. Tuan watched and learned, grateful for the unspoken kindness that asked for nothing in return. Helping with small tasks, chopping wood, carrying water, sweeping the yard, gave his days a sense of purpose and allowed his body to grow stronger, even as his mind remained caught between the past and the present. Yet, no matter how calm the days appeared, the nights were often restless. When darkness fell, Tuan would lie awake listening to the soft sounds of the countryside, his thoughts drifting back to the same unanswered questions. The woman's face still returned, sometimes gentler now, less blurred, as though time was slowly peeling away the fog around her. The pain in his head had not vanished, but it had softened, transforming from sharp agony into a dull, persistent ache. He began to sense that his memories were not lost forever, only hidden, waiting for the right moment to resurface. This fragile hope kept him going, even on days when frustration threatened to overwhelm him. Elsewhere, Thu's mother was also living in a state of waiting, her heart suspended between fear and longing. Each time the phone rang, she felt her pulse quicken, dreading and desiring the same call in equal measure. The DNA test results had not yet arrived, and the uncertainty gnawed at her relentlessly. She replayed every interaction with Diem in her mind, searching for signs, for confirmation, for anything that might prepare her for the truth. At night, she whispered prayers into the darkness, asking for strength if her hope was crushed, and for courage if it was fulfilled. She knew that if Diem truly was her lost daughter, everything would change, not only for herself, but for the young woman who had grown up without knowing her own roots. Unaware of each other's silent struggles, Tuan and Thu's mother were bound by the same invisible thread of fate, one that slowly tightened with each passing day. In the stillness of the old man's house and in the anxious waiting of a mother's heart, time continued its quiet work. Healing, revelation, and reunion loomed just beyond the horizon, promising that when the truth finally emerged, none of their lives would ever be the same again.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Tử Diễm Review. Vậy là câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay đã kết thúc tại đây. Câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay thì mẹ của Thư đã nghi ngờ Diễm chính là con gái thất lạc của mình, và bà đã âm thầm làm một điều, đó chính là lấy tóc của bà và tóc của Diễm để đi xét nghiệm ADN để xem điều nghi ngờ trong lòng bà có là sự thật hay không. Trong lúc chờ đợi kết quả thì bà rất mong là ước nguyện Diễm là con gái của bà thành hiện thực. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn về kết quả xét nghiệm của mẹ của Thư và Diễm sẽ còn được kể các video tiếp theo. Các bạn đừng quên bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.